My guest today is Mary Tataryn. She's the founder of Intention Dimension. After years of walking with one foot in two very different worlds, she eventually decided to leave the finance one and dedicate herself completely to the energetic realms. Because of the need to satisfy her analytical side, she found herself enrolled in a 4-year program at the Barbara Brennan School of Healing. In the last year of the program, she was introduced to Hara, the place and space she became fascinated with and now lovingly refers to as the Intention Dimension. Through her one-on-one practice, speaking, online courses, and workshops, she's now able to share her passion with the world in a bigger way. Born and raised in the Keystone of Canada, she resides just outside of Winnipeg, Manitoba, where she lives on a couple of gorgeous acres with her dog Mugs, her cat Mugs, I should say, and I have my cat Dylan with me all the time, her dog Katie, and her sweetie Kirby. So welcome, Mary. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Dr.
Oh, you're welcome. And that's ideally with a dog and a cat. I love my animals, so I know you do too.
I do. They take so much of your heart, hey?
Oh, they do, certainly. I can tell you that.
Yeah, they give just as much, if not more to give.
Yeah, they do.
Sure.
Well, this thing we're talking about, this energy system, what the heck is it? And is there more than one?
Well, yes. First of all, we have an energy system. Everybody has an energy system, and a lot of people hear words like aura or human energy field, but that's exactly what we're referring to with this energy field. It's an energetic system that surrounds our body. It's almost egg-shaped, and it surrounds us 360 degrees. Like I say, a lot of people have heard the word aura, and they just know it has something to do with that. But yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about. It contains different frequencies and waves. So it's an actual field, just like energy. So it's different frequencies and waves, and it houses all of our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings. So that's those different thoughts and feelings. They're different wavelengths. So that's why they feel different within our body, and that's kind of what houses all around our body. And then when those particular frequencies vibrate, that's how we get the sensations in our physical body. So yes, we have an energy system, commonly known as the aura, and we have more than one of them, but that's typically the one that's most popular within our culture for sure, the Western culture.
So why do we need to know about it? And are there any benefits to knowing about it? Although I have to say, I have often said about certain people, there's an aura around her, or there's just something that happens when he walks into a room and an aura is created. So I have used the words. So tell us a little bit about why we need to know about it.
Well, our aura, or our energy field, is really important. You know what? It's just as much a part of us as our arm is, or our foot, or our leg. It's a part of who we are. It's something we can't have a physical body without it, and the physical body can't just be here without our energetic field. So, like within this culture, I don't know if it was lost or we never really heard about it, but certainly within the Eastern cultures, it's very much a part of their awareness and their system and stuff that they use and hear about and know about and tap into as they grow up and learn. So, so it is very important because it is an integral part of us. And what we need to do is, I guess in an ideal world, we have balance. And when we get balance, we get health. So anything that's out of balance, be it body, mind, and spirit, if we're out of balance, we can be moody or really emotional or have temper issues or anxiety issues, even mental disorders. And then ultimately we'll get diseases in the body. We call them dis-eases. So that's the state of imbalance on a physical level. But it's really important to learn about this energy field and how it affects our body and how our body affects it, because we can't separate it. We're all one. And that's the ideal of understanding, or you don't even really have to understand it, but acknowledge its presence and maybe learn how to work with it might be a better way to state it. But it has direct correlation between our health and well-being.
Well, now, I mentioned in your intro about something called Hara. What is it and what's so big about it? I have not heard of that before, and I've heard a lot of, energy terms and worked with a lot of healers. So tell us about that.
Well, Hara is, like I mentioned, we do have different energy systems. So just like our auric field or human energy field is just actually one of the systems, and it is the main system that a lot of people work with, especially here, as it moves into the Western culture, because it is where we house our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings and things like that. But the Haric is actually another system, just like, the meridian system. If you've ever heard of acupuncture or acupressure, they use that system. That's another system. The Haric system is what I term the intention dimension, because it's a place that we house our intentions. It's our powerhouse. It's our place of power and strength. It houses the Tantien, which is our little power source within that system. And it also houses our longings. So our life tasks, our world tasks, our longings. That's the place where those types of things fit in that system. So the benefits of tapping into that particular system, is incredibly magnificent, just because we can tap into and help, flourish and help nurture our life longings and bring them up to the surface and wake them up. So the power that comes from tapping into this particular stream or place of work, it might actually be, if I give you an example, so say the people that work with the martial arts, they're constantly tapping into, and so those guys that can turn around and throw their arm or their foot at a brick or a piece of wood, they're tapping into their Hara system, and it's a place of power. And that what they're doing is they're not actually breaking those things or using their hand or their physical body to go through, but they're shooting that particular energy source right through it, and that's what's actually breaking the brick and the pieces of board. So that's the power.
I attended a seminar and they had us do that, and every single person in my little group did it, and I couldn't do it.
Oh.
I thought that was amazing. So is Hara what you would call Japanese energy?
Well, a lot of people refer to it as Japanese energy. Certainly, that's what people refer to it as because, and I think of the stigmatism of the martial arts, and they tap into that. But it certainly is a very Eastern, most of the Eastern cultures are, like I say, they've learned the importance of this, and it's very well embedded into their culture as well. But it is very strongly embedded into the Japanese culture. Even if you kind of just step back and look at the culture as a whole, if you think Japanese are kind of if you can visually see, they're, very lot of strength, confidence, even their stature, the way they hold themselves. There's just, and I just want to mention, we have both of these systems. So when we're in Hara, it doesn't mean we lose our auric field or all our feelings or emotions or our thoughts. So it's not like we have to pick one or the other, but it's a place that we can move into that's past and inside of that. So we actually get to keep both of them, but we can have all our feelings and emotions from this place of strength and confidence. It's another kind of system to tap into. So it's just a matter of being conscious. When are we moving into it? I think people are doing it all the time. They kind of move in and out of Hara. And there's some people who have kind of learned to move into it, but I don't think it's really conscious. Like a ballerina, they pop up on their toes and they can stay and do an entire dance there. They're definitely in Hara, They're holding that place of manifesting things that aren't really typically possible if we're just hanging out in the auric field. It's a little more mushy and fluid within the auric field.
Well, now you talk about a couple of things with words that I have one definition for, and I wonder if your definitions are the same as mine. You talk about a difference between thoughts and intentions. And I've always thought of thoughts as random things that pop up, in your brain every now and then. And an intention is something that you purposely set out to do. So what is your difference between thoughts and intentions?
Okay. Well, the difference between a thought, okay, so like I mentioned earlier, within our energetic realm, the auric field that we talk about, that's where we house our thoughts and our feelings and emotions. So a thought is just that, and that's the place that it comes from, that's the place that it hangs out. Now, we talk about intention. When I refer to it, that comes from a different place. So it's a little place, it's a different energy system called the Hara field. And it's almost like you compare it to what we could say a goal. So, what's the difference between an intention and a goal? Well, a goal are thoughts put into actions, right? So we do this step, this step, this step. It starts with a thought, and once we do these particular steps, we can achieve our goals. So I'm going to give it intention a little bit more power. So it's about achieving those thoughts and goals from this place and tapping into this place of power and this source. So those other people you said in the group, how they just tapped into it, they were going to do it. So they were able to shift into that space with their intention. And I guess I'll go from here. One of the tools that you can learn about shifting into these different energetic realms is your energy follows your attention. So wherever you place your attention, some people are visual, some people can, they'll just use their thoughts. So wherever you move your thoughts, the energy will follow it. So depending, that can help people shift from one place to another. Lots of times it is a little bit harder to distinguish when you're in a place of Hara. So it's just a place of, you kind of have to just feel it out. Okay, so I'm in Hara when things they're kind of effortless. They're just kind of rolling along and it's smooth and, things are just lining up and I don't know why this is working. And you might even look at some people and go, oh, they're just lucky. Things are always just kind of moving out of their way and there's no obstacles and that shouldn't even have happened. And, I know the guy's talented or skilled, but, how come that's just flowing along so easily? So there's such a place of effortlessness that comes with it. So that's more of the intention realm. So when we go over to thoughts, when it's a lot of work, when we're using our willpower, when we can feel we're contracting and kind of, forcing things, when we're in that place of willpower, we're still in the auric field. Those are still with thoughts and still with willpower that we're trying to manifest and create. When we shift over into the next place, and it's just such a subtle difference, we lose the willpower. It just becomes effortless. We're just coming from a place that manifests, and we align with what's supposed to be, and it just kind of rolls and flows all on its own. So there's an openness and then a flow to the intention realm, we'll call it, versus the really tiring and fatiguing and thoughts and willpower place where generally everybody works for. So you can come home at the end of the day and just be absolutely exhausted. It's because we depleted that particular field because we're working from willpower. So that would be kind of a thought versus, intention. Intention is just coming from a very different place and it doesn't drain us. It doesn't drain our field. It's just from a place of confidence and power and source, but it is a particular system that we can walk in and out of as you choose, but once you actually figure out how to get there, you're not going to want to consciously leave. So,
well, now you also mentioned contraction and expansion. And contraction to me is when you kind of withdraw, and expansion is when you go for it. So what do you mean by those terms?
Yeah, so those are typical terms, and then they're very similar. So to contract is to, like you say, to withdraw. So when you withdraw, you're actually taking your energy and pulling it in, okay? So you're withdrawing, you're pulling stuff inside, and that's actually, causing a contraction. And when you contract and tighten up like that, you can even feel your bodies, your shoulder might even come up. There's an internal twisting or a tightening that's going on. From that place, there's no flow. There's a holding and a sticking and a staying. There's not a lot of movement. It's very static there. When we think of expansion, or it's a place that's more open, you can think of it as going out, expanding out, and there's flow. There's lots of flow. When there's flow, things can happen. When there isn't flow, things can't happen. There's just a stagnant there. You could also maybe